This session brought to you by Odyssey Games for pre-orders and sealed product, CCG Prime for tons of singles and supplies, Cardo Doko for international rulers looking for product, and fowlibrary.com for articles and wonderful deck lists, as well as our guest lecturer members Vite Ramen, King Pearlshine, and Mognite. Class is in session.
And
hey there, rulers! Welcome back after a long week of Force of Will to your favorite ever live Force of Will podcast. It's Office Hours featuring myself, DMO73, and I'm joined as always by Paul Reisman.
Roast, Dr. Pepper.
And Mike Rance.
Didn't see you there.
Mike Rance.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi.
Is that you, Mike? Is that you? I can barely see you so far over there.
Record scratch. That's me. Bet you're wondering how I got here.
It's the perfect way to start. As we jump in here to talk about spoilers tonight, I do want to give everyone a few reminders of a few things. If you like what we're doing on the channel, want to consider supporting us financially, the easiest way to do that is to join the channel as a member. You can click the join button right down below this video to join that and get access to the cool emotes and every other kind of cool stuff that we put in there. Higher tiers get higher rewards. You also can, I believe you should be able to look down below and buy some merch. If YouTube is finally making this working, so you can go buy some Ruler School merch, which is kind of neat. But the main thing you should be going down the description for is to check out Odyssey Games for the pre-orders for War of the Sun. They had sold out last week, heard people in the community say, we want to be able to get more, worked it out, and we're able to get more, so the pre-orders are back open for more stuff, so you can go ahead and check the link in the description below and go pick up your pre-orders for that. I mean, the contract packs alone are well worth pre-ordering for the boosted contract rate and the contract reprint pack, so like, go do it. But tonight, boys, we have 3 cards. So most of tonight we'll be talking about our thoughts about what the rest of the set might be based on these 3 cards, because it's we didn't know that spoilers were going to start tonight. Sometimes they weirdly start on a Tuesday, so we have like a whole week of spoilers to talk about. But no, let's just have one day. Let's just have 3 cards. It's fine. Let's jump in.
Spoiler, I think there might be some magic stones in this set.
Crazy.
Basics? We haven't had those in 3 months.
For sure. So first up we have Olga Eclipser, aka RoboGil. I'm just gonna call him RoboGil. That's what I've decided. He is a Gears ruler, which has some implications I'll talk about in a minute. Partner 2 Sunchild, that you can partner him with rulers with Bond. Sun Children, obviously. And at the beginning of the game, you may reveal a card named Magog you own from outside the game and put it into the field. So he's kind of like... He kind of has homeland, but it's like super narrowed. And it's not keyword homeland. It's just like, nah, just specifically Magog. But then when you look at Magog, it's like, oh, this is actually a pretty good addition to start the game with. But we'll get to that in a minute. So one thing I do want to point out here with Gears is there's one stupid thing that you can do and one pretty neat thing that you can do with this guy.
Talk to me about stupid, Jeremy.
Of course, we're going to talk about the stupid first. The first thought is that he is a Gears card that you could, a colored Gears card that you can reveal with Ainz. So that Ainz gains his abilities, which are partner 2, which is partner 2 Sunchild, but you've already passed the beginning of the game, so that doesn't matter. And partner, and at the beginning of the game, you may reveal a Magog opponent of the field, but you've already passed that trigger, so it doesn't even matter. So,
what, like, in response to the beginning of the game trigger,
doesn't work for Ainz.
Doesn't work for Ainz.
It's at the start of your turn.
Well played.
Genius. Brilliant.
I did it.
So yeah, that's the stupid thing that you can do. It's very funny. The interesting thing that you can do though with this card is the fact that it is a Gears ruler, which means that you can use reconnaissance gears with this as a reveal, cheat it and lose it tech card to be able to maybe grab some other stuff from your sideboard and shuffle it into the deck, or give something a +2/+2 for free, as needed. A neat little, just a cute little behind the scenes of the deck. Like, do we think it's going to use it? Maybe, maybe not. How much does he rely on his own, like, what are they called? The things that he's cloning.
Replicants?
Replicants. There we go. I was thinking
Robots.
Reploids. I gotta remember Reploids. Replicants. So maybe
Robots.
there's some synergy there, but it is a neat little kind of connection there too. Colored gear card. What? Yeah, correct. just randomly also make Eins have some beginning of the game triggers that don't matter. It's fun.
Quirrell
It's a good
colored gear
time.
card?
Why not?
We have the bird, all the ones from the first set.
Yeah.
Bird, dragon,
Bird.
shark, bird. Those are the other ones.
Government
We
drone.
better keep an eye on the other rulers if they are colored gears. If the other rulers have non-beginning of the... I mean, that would be very interesting. A cool little bump for Eins, Robert. If the other rulers are also gears but don't have just beginning of the game effects. That would be kind of neat to see some life breathed back into Eins for that idea. Because as long as they're gears... Because specifically... Eins doesn't specifically state what type of card it has to be. It just has to have an attribute and be a gears card. So this is an attributed gears card, which is neat. Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see. Any thoughts from you guys about this, Mr. Narrow?
Which was Mr. Narrow?
This guy, Olga. Just like first thoughts.
Oh, how does Olga do his moon children's hair, especially the girls?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question, Mike.
The answer is Eclipser. Anyway.
Cheers to that.
I genuinely, you got me. That one was very good. Like, genuinely impressed with that joke. Well done. I knew there was a reason to keep you on this podcast, Mike.
Yeah, it's not because I played this fucking game, but
you're gonna have to because you're coming to Worlds, so you gotta get better. Gotta get back into it.
I can still play. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. You're just doing fine.
I'll be all right.
Paul, any thoughts?
I think he's pointing to the win symbol and being like, "Hey, look, guys, I'm the
Wind.
best.
Me.
I'm the
That's true.
best."
That's true.
He was number one.
So the first thing that I see with Olga as kind of our like first taste of the rulers is we had this conversation a couple weeks ago, how Assault into the Demonic World set 3 of a new cluster felt very like a box that could be very standalone, and as such it was like it's a good like starting out into the game kind of set because the rulers are not super complicated but do have some oomph to them and are pretty like standalone mechanically and kind of self-contained. Looking at Olga, immediately catch those same vibes, right? Of like, this is a ruler that you're just like, hey, you just started playing Force of One, you want to buy a box, you have no idea what to play, let's buy set 3 of Hero Cluster, see what you get, and we can make you some cool decks out of it. Already catching those vibes with how this guy's designed. He's not offering you a million different choices of what cocoons to get at the start of the game because he's just grabbing a specific edition. He's not you don't have 9 different moon children to choose a combination of. You just specifically have the sun children that are just in this set, right? So like it already feels like that narrowing that I think will make set 3 stand the test of time as a really nice like welcome to the game kind of set, which I'm here for. It's kind of one of those things where like hitting starter decks at the beginning of the cluster and then like middle to end of the cluster hitting another like a good entry point kind of product is great, right? If you're not going to do more starters, doing something like this is really nice. So hopefully the other rulers feel similar, and then their support makes them really enjoyable and have some competitive edge. So next up, speaking of Sun Children, we have Say It Ain't So Kaguya, the little mini reincarnated Kaguya here. The Child of Eclipse, Sun Children, Sun Protection, Bond, God's Art, Wind of Solaris, pay 0, cancel target God's Art ability, play this ability only if you control a ruler, not a J ruler, a ruler named Olga, Eclipser, or you control 3 or more magic stones. I'm going to toss this one over to Mike to get first thoughts here.
Zero cost! No cost! Cancel! It's fine. It's literally so fine. Also, I'm going to throw this out here. A lot of really strong Gods Arts are strong because they're in decks that specifically are looking to win the game quickly. I think that they add a lot of value. I think the fact that you need 3 stones and this exact reward to do it means that this card is not good. And I'm going to die on that hill because I don't play this game, but I know what's good and what's not.
I would say that my only like hit to that is I would say that 3 stones
No
is
bits.
not nearly what?
No bits to that. You can't have bits to that. It's
Okay.
infallible logic.
Okay. Well, I would say that most games get to at least 3 stones nowadays, unless you're like just absolutely high rolling. So I'm honestly kind of glad that it has that idea, because to me this is a ruler. This you and I talked a little bit before the show, Mike, of like Olga with this Moonchild has a very good like Hanzo vibe.
Yeah.
Right? In terms of like, I'm good against the other Moonchild rulers, because essentially, or against the Sunchild rulers, because this is essentially like, let's just both take one of our Gods Arts off the board, right? Which feels very similarly to what Hanzo was doing with Sealing Scroll, right? I think that they've learned their lesson from Hanzo in the fact that other people can also make use of this effect, and not just like only Hanzo gets it. But also like
I remember when I remember preparing for Worlds, nobody knew that the rune restriction was runes of your... So there was a lot of talk about that going on. So learning lessons in multiple ways.
Yeah. So for me, this piece of other rulers can get access to it as like a sideboard tech based on the matchup. So it's not, oh, if you want to be not worrying about this, you have to play Olga. It's just the easiest way to make use of this is to play Olga, which is, I think, the proper way to design that kind of an effect of saying like it has a natural affinity for this ruler. However, other people can use it. It's just not as easy to make use of. The other thing, that the biggest point about these rulers, or about this Sunchild ruler, no will filtering.
Oh, no. What am I gonna do with my 10 stones that produce 2 colors? Ooh,
wow! You're not wrong. You're not wrong in the fact that like you don't really need it if you build your decks properly, right? And also, obviously, with the kind of idea of like Stone of 3 means like Seal of Knowledge becomes probably very good for Olga, right? To be able to get to Seal 3.
Seal,
so he
let's
has a
go.
5-color stone. Yeah, so maybe there's some Seal stuff. Like
anti-magic.
It's very interesting to me that there's no, and also in the very same way of, again, that same idea of like we're narrowing and making things very much more obvious, which means that like if you're playing a Moonchild ruler or a Sunchild ruler deck and you're first starting out, you don't have to think of, oh, I can filter once per turn, I forgot about that. Like, nope, you just don't have access to that. It's very, much more cut and dry. And with that, Paul, tossing it to you.
Oh, you took all of my points.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll just shut up for the rest of it.
I would also say that it's also not a multi-attribute ruler, so and neither is Ulga, so Adiractus Memoria is not going to get nearly as much longevity in this kind of deck. I would also add that this is what happens when you feed a Chimera Ant Kaguya. You get this.
Yeah, you got that butterfly wings.
You know what I'm talking about. If you know,
I know what you're talking about. Paul, why would you put that cosmic horror into this podcast?
We did have Killua last set. We
true.
We did have Killua last set, so very clearly we're just going Hunter.
The fact that the flavor text isn't just sire.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me to see what is very clearly Kaguya, but not. Just like, oh,
Kaguya, more like Naguya.
Not as good as the last one.
It's not.
Like, not as good.
You know what I hate?
For 2 for 2.
You know what I hate? I hate when they go out of their way to really just hate on TSW's distortion of time. This is gonna just make my entire plans So
But
play an outdated ruler.
It is nice. It is nice that this is just like a tool that these rulers will have to say like, oh, you wanted to play Light Child?
No, you don't.
Oh, you wanted to
Nope.
pop that?
Like,
No.
this is just more. But again, like not everyone is going to be able to do that immediately, right? And I also really enjoy the fact that none of the current Bond rulers are going to be able to use it. Like it's just for Sun Children rulers. Like give them a tool that's unique to them, which I think is great, but still make it like reasonable, which and not just like completely out.
Where's my Sunchild ruler? Where's my Sunchild ruler with Bond 4, but a Bond that doesn't let it make it so that you have to have things with different names? So you should have 4 Child of Eclipse on board, and your opponent's like, I really want a Godzart. And you're like, no, you don't, man. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Mono green, boys. Let's go.
You act like that's not a valid Force of Will strategy, Jeremy. Don't even act like it's not.
I mean, moving on to the last card of the night.
I would also add to the conversation that this is like the second card that has like specifically like Godsart negation attached to it.
Yeah,
it's true.
That was Holy Spear. Still think Lorite is better, but starting the game with this could be advantageous in that sense.
Yeah.
Especially against.
I'm surprised we haven't.
other-
I'm surprised we haven't just gotten to the point where we have just like a thing that just says like, "Hey, you start the game with a Lorite." I'm just waiting for that. That's like 5 years down the line, but we'll see that happen.
Yeah, 5 years.
Yeah, we would all start the game with a Lorite if we just drew it opening hand.
Like I always do. I drew like 3 of them, but I'm playing against aggro, so I guess fuck me, right?
You got 3 blockers. You're good to go.
So, last card of the night is Magog. Magog. The Artificial Eclipse. So we have 1 green, non-quick cast. Whenever a J ruler is put into the field by a contract chant you control, recover up to 1 magic stone you control. Tap, draw a card, and put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. It is a sun protection entity, which means no ruler outside of our boy, Gilboy, Gilbot, is going to be able to cheat this in, which thank goodness. And it also is just like this nice little, very clearly indicator of he's probably going to be contracting frequently, and he might be like a 2-drop contract, so this makes it a 1-drop contract, like something like that. And also just hand fixing, which is very, very cool, especially if he's a more monocolor deck. The idea of like a monocolor deck that splashes a second color and for a few tech cards, a card like this is very, very helpful because you're like, well, I need to dig for that tech card, or oh, I have the tech card but it's not good in this matchup, so I'm going to filter it away. Overall, very cool card. I mean, like pretty like standard, nothing crazy to me about it, but it's nice.
Fucking cowards. I should have said when a J rule is put into the field. This has been so cool for anything non-contract, but whatever.
Yeah.
Imagine this in Brad. Imagine making Brad playable.
This would be kind of nuts in Brad.
It would be kind of nuts in Brad, right?
Just like call stone. I'm tapped. Pay 1 to perform judgment while tapped. Recover the stone that I just used to judgment Brad tap.
Starving Wolf. Put him back. Get the Brad. Summon the Brad. Priestess call action game. Yes, I did start with a 7-card hand. I don't care, Jeremy. Come on.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. I know.
Also,
at least in the
remember,
chat, Echo was talking about. Oh wow. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying. Remember Reflective Frame from TSW? This is from TTW. This is him now. Feel old yet? Anyway, continue.
Yeah, that's what in the chat as well.
They made Reflect from TTW worse.
No, they made it so they could start the game with him. Wait.
but all he does is just draw and put a card back. That's fine.
No, what if this with original Reflect Refrain?
Draw it. I was gonna say Echo was talking in the chat about this, how this is gonna be really solid with Falchion as well. There's just more addition support. I think this card in general is just good in contract decks.
Yes, I would agree. It's especially good with decks like Asuka, Asuka honestly really likes this as well, because
Yeah.
we've found that Asuka's kind of like, with the loss of Spirit of Decay, a lot of the Asuka decks now are relying on contract looping. So the idea of like, I perform this, I perform Night of the Living Vampire, I contract, I recover 2 stones, then I go to cast my stuff, so then like I can protect the stuff that I'm trying to cast. Like, that's an interesting note to me. You know, or like set her up to immediately be able to recontract again in the same loop easier. It's not that she's necessarily running out of will lately. I mean, we've seen people play like Magical Dragon or Phantasmal Ascendant to like be able to go into getting more stones faster. But this is just a neat card for her to have. Especially, it's also a neat way for her to try to find Night of the Living Vampire without having to mill it. Because I have seen like where you just like, it gets milled and you also happen to not have any Lord of Tsukiyomis in your hand, or it gets milled and then your opponent removes your graveyard and you're like, this was a mistake. So this is a way for help, you know, like there is implications for this outside of just Olga. It's just he gets to just start with it, which is a nice little support. No Asuka, only Falchions.
Oh man.
Additions meet Damascus Moons, so sad. I mean, like, I'm fine with that. The idea of like that's why when Damascus Moon was printed, we like Damascus Moon a lot, because like if people are gonna try to abuse something like this, having something that can be sideboarded in to kind of mess with it is nice, right? It's a neat card to be able to make use of, which I really appreciate. Which is honestly one of the reasons why I think Ainz, especially if there's more colored gears in this set, like Ainz might suddenly like get a lot better, because he can just sideboard in like start the game with Damascus Moon out the gate, which is very, very nice. Yeah, it's overall, these 3 cards as like a here's a taste have done their job of making me want to see more. But also have done a job in the sense of like, I'm not thinking about these cards only in the context of Olga, right? Like all of these cards are like the new Sunchild and Magog are having me think outside of just the ruler that's revealed today, which is great.
Robert Green, give me a new will doubler. You were literally in the colors to do spin. The spin myth still banned?
Nope.
No.
Spinning Myths Odin. With this
It
card.
exists.
It's true.
Yeah.
And you can say monocolor, so you can keep the Spirit of Force of Wind and play 20 basic green stones and just go ham. Just Magic Stone Analysis. And that's it. That's all you have to do.
Also in the same colors as Scheherazade, 3-drop Scheherazade.
Yeah.
You can pull this out with her if you need to.
You can pull 2 of them out.
Oh, that's true. No, you can't. She
Oh,
only
you can't?
she gives an edition and a resonator, not 2 editions.
Bullshit.
Probably don't choose
Hate
this
country.
over Secret Hideout, but
You hate this country.
what did I
only in America will they stop me from getting 2 resonators and 2 editions.
This is aggressive. This is not what I was expecting.
Listen, Jimmy, you got me a little unhinged.
I can tell that I've got you a little unhinged.
That's
I
fine, though.
I got you excited about Hanzo 3.0.
Yeah, good old fucking hand soap. Let's go.
Hanzo Magog.
Hand soap and magging.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I think that's how my people laugh. You know how like Spanish people laugh with like the JA for ha 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 ha. My people just go
The stone recovery ability is extremely specific. You're not wrong. That's true.
That's
it does
correct.
Have some it does have some specificity to it. But I kind of like that. Because Force of Will has had some cards in the past that are like, they come out and they're very cool.
Some.
I mean, like, the word that I'm using is appropriate. So they've had some cards in the past that have like been very, very clearly designed for the new stuff, but the effects are generic enough that we're just like, we're just gonna take them to the old rulers that are good, and not play the newer rulers. And so having
Y'all
some
remember
specificity-
Strangers?
Yeah, having the specificity that comes with this is nice. It's nice. It's good. I think it's good design. It keeps you engaged in new stuff, but also has some opening to be able to be played with some older stuff, which is great. You don't like these new cards, to be honest. I mean, I'm not necessarily like floored by these cards. Like, it's not super exciting.
They're introductory.
It's done the job of like sitting me down and giving me like the beginning of the course bread that like tells me that I'm at dinner, and so now I can start having the courses served to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm waiting to see what the chef has prepared, and in the meantime I'm having bread to be patient. It's bread.
Olga's the bread. Sun Protector's the butter. Magog is the little tiny knife that comes with the little extra plate.
No, the Magog's like the nice oil, like the olive oil. It gets me like thinking.
No. Okay, so Magog is the nice oil, but it's the oil in the bottle, and then not Kaguya is the little spices that you just put into it, like a little bit of red pepper and everything. And you just kind of you just swirl the bread around, and you just get a little. Yeah,
it's a nice little palate.
Delicious
palate starter to get me kind of ready to go.
Jeremy, what kind of bread is Olga?
I mean, he's very clearly sourdough. Look at how white that boy is.
Yeah. I mean,
a little sour.
I mean, okay, listen.
Got a grumpy face. He's sourdough bread.
Is he sourdough or is he white bread?
No, he's sourdough. He's not milk toast.
Milk toast would just be reflect and refrain, just being vanillas.
Yeah, for sure.
Can't be Killua, who had like just like the like those little bread pieces that just have like a little.
Is that where the next 30 minutes are? It's like what
Dude, we have 3 spoilers. What are we supposed to do? Is it mailbag hour? Nobody's ready for this. I'm talking about bread with pizza sauce on it, and that's okay.
What we can talk about is what we think, like, in having seen Olga and the One Moon Child already, we can get speculative, which is in comparing the set to ADW, what do we think in terms of what these other 4 rulers are going to look like? Because I will say this, the difference between this set and ADW is the fact that each of those 5... There is a mermaid in this set.
Oh, fuck, you're right.
So, immediately wrong. So, first off is that Olga himself doesn't have an actual mechanic. Like, he's not archetypal in terms of, at least on his front side. His contract will probably show a little bit of what that is, because that's the whole gimmick of this cluster, right? Is that the contracts kind of speak to the identity of the ruler. But that's a big difference between this set and ADW, because like right out the gate, when we saw, for instance, let's talk about Olivia, right? Olivia was showcased the idea of making non-random stuff, or making random stuff non-random, and we went, oh cool, I wonder how that's going to show up on cards. Olga, literally don't know anything about him. We know a couple of his replicants. We know that he's probably going to be contracting a lot because of starting with this thing that helps him recover his stones to encourage you to contract frequently. But beyond that, we got nothing.
He's going to contract literally into a book of light for replicants.
Hey, so then let's talk about, we've got the mermaid, the fairy-looking dude, the elf-looking dude, Mr. Robo Ninja, and then the Musketeer lady. So what
did you just refer to Twink Boy as like the fairy elf boy? Come on, Jeremy.
I did.
Refer to him exactly how he is.
I'm gonna refer to him as Fairy Elf Boy, and
this is Hero 3 Twink. It's like Big Hero 6.
I refuse.
But it's Twink Hero 3.
I refuse to use that term. I'm not doing it.
Instead of Big Hero 6, it's Twink Hero 3.
Everybody, just hold on for 1 second. We're gonna put Mike in timeout, and then cool. We can't hear Mike anymore while he laughs. Mike has been put in timeout. Everybody say, yeah. He talks about whatever he wants. So Paul, while Mike's in timeout, what do you think?
I'm curious to know if these replicants are actually going to support Olga, or if they're going to be kind of spread across the rulers.
Ooh, okay.
I'm also wondering if sort of progression is like a contract that like goes back to your hand when it dies. That would be very
Like
interesting.
the J ruler side, if it dies, comes back to your hand.
Mm-hmm. Because that would make
be
sense for
very
Magog.
interesting.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think of like what relevant mechanics would make you want to contract regularly. Because up till now, we've had 4 contracts. There have been some games where I don't even see them, which might be the cycling effect. It might be there to help us see that. But I'm guessing like just Olga's name is going to be very useful for contracting, or
Sure.
it's going to have some additional effects. But again, yeah, there's like very little to go off of here.
Yeah. The other thing that's interesting to me is like Magog kind of serves the purpose of like again a more narrowed and more like I love that Mike's just doing the Macarena. I'm gonna wait till he comes all the way back around and then I'll put him at a timeout. So it gives me a vibe of like a little bit of like a mini feasting ruler,
Yeah.
right? Because feasting got to mulligan 3 times. He technically still only gets 1 mulligan, but then right out the gate can start like doing these little mini card selections like based on the like purely from the ruler, so it feels like a more fair version of that. So now Mike can be out of timeout because he's finished his Macarena, so I'll untimeout him. Hold on, you're not out of timeout yet. Now you're back from timeout.
Hey, Macarena!
Gosh dang it, Mike. So yeah, it's like a mini that vibe of the green ruler being like a mini card selection kind of effect is very similar to what we've seen before, but also not just like it's tied to the ruler because you start with it, yes, but it's not just like right out the gate we're gonna go guns blazing and there's nothing you can do to stop me kind of piece, which is again nice. Like I like it. That's kind of been the theme to me of like looking at the rulers from these sets is like we took ideas that we used in the past, but we made them wrong, and we've tuned them to be still in the game in some way, but not wrong.
Yeah.
So, and I'm cool with that. I'm cool with, if feasting's banned, but you want the green control deck to have like some kind of like hand fixing kind of element to be that kind of piece. For sure, this is a cool way to be able to do that in a way that's interactable, and not overpowered. And I'm really curious about what all the other rulers are
also
gonna
something
do.
that we could talk about.
Sure.
Because the benefit of being me is that you've sort of noticed like these really subtle hints toward a very specific kind of lore that have been dropped throughout, specifically Megiddo. Magog is a reference. Magog is usually paired with Gog, so it's Gog and Magog. Just little references that I noticed being who I am. So I'm wondering if we're gonna get like a character, or even if that is the J ruler for Olga. If Gog is gonna come out because Megiddo's been blocked by this artificial sun, artificial mood thing. There might be something that comes out in the lore.
Oh, you're talking way over my head right now, bud.
We're getting into literature.
Gog and Magog is a deep cut. Like I was like, did I make this up? And I had to Google
This is a literature podcast now. Deep cut literature
well,
podcast now.
Well, you see, Gog and Magog represent
ancient Near Eastern
I do believe, based on purely, to not get necessarily, this is speculative, but it's based on imagery we've seen. I do believe that Olga will be the ruler that has 2 contracts. It'll probably be sort of progression, most likely, and then the Marvel rare contract being the
sort of progression.
No, it'll be probably the Chrono Gear Genesis that the artwork was recently spoiled. We can look at that. I guess we haven't really talked about that. We didn't talk about that last week.
That, yeah.
We saw it. I just didn't pull up the artwork for it.
Put it on the screen, Jeremy.
because we just did reflect and refrain stuff last week.
Put it on the
Let me
board.
find-
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull it up. This is thanks to our friends over at Converging Wills. Let me get this real quick. We've seen 2 pieces of artwork from them. Let me just pull this up really quick. Save image, and then they shared this image as well. So we don't know what these cards do, but we do know their names, which I think is very cool. So this is Chrono Gear, Genesis Chrono Gear. So very clearly looks like, I mean, that looks like an eclipse to me in the background of the artwork. So this feels very much like it's probably going to be the Marvel Rear contract. I can imagine. I mean, it looks very much like it's gonna stand off with Excalibur. Like it has that same kind of like very centralized pose kind of thought. So to me, it feels like Olga's gonna be the one to have 2, just like Araceli was the one to have 2.
Gundams.
Dragon has Pierce and Precision, no fly zone. What?
Yeah, definitely. No.
Oh, you're from the artwork that we're about to look at. That the dragon we're going to show you is going to have Pierce and Precision, but no flying. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That'd be very
I mean, honestly,
and
this
the guy
artwork,
that's just walking is definitely gonna have
Yeah.
flying.
yeah, for sure. I mean, he looks like he's flying in this artwork, so probably will have flying. That being said, this artwork is sick. This artwork is absolutely sick.
Big robot.
Very vibrant.
Someone who is a custom figure maker, find me and tell me how much it will cost to make custom like mech figurines of all of the Chrono Gears, because I would absolutely buy them. Like I would pay you money for them.
Cosplay's
I'm not gonna do that. I'm done with armor. I've done armor. Never again.
I feel like Paul
too much.
would do it. Paul, would you cosplay a Gundam?
I would cosplay a Gundam, but
See, look at that.
Um,
before I
Look at this
cosplay
guy.
Megazord.
Alargento are the new contracts going to have a better drop rate? Yes, we've been told by the German Force of Will page that the contract rates for set 3 have been boosted, along with
Very
the fact
important.
along with the fact that each of the boxes of set 3 will come with that 5 contract reprint pack included as well.
So Echo, you say it should have flying, but it's actually just jumping. What is flying if not just jumping for a really, really, really long time?
Staying up in the air and never coming down.
Anyway, moving on to the next card.
That's
we have
just jumping for a really long time. I don't know what to tell you, man.
So next up we have this is Dragon of Outer Space. This is the other card art that's been spoiled as well. Also just absolutely knocking it out of the park with this artwork.
Yeah,
Like
this is some of the best art I've seen in this game. Like, it's fantastic. Like,
yeah.
the level of
it's like-
detail is ridiculous.
of course it is. Bro, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to gush here for a second. All right?
Go for it.
Kotakan, I met him in 2018. He's the same guy who did Lich. He's done so many artworks. Every single thing he does is so minutely detailed. Everything feels like it's got like texture to it. It's like grainy, but it's like not like abrasively grainy. It's like beautiful, and like you can see every fiber on everything. He makes scales look like scales. He makes the decaying body of an ex-monk look like it's just this like rotting corpse. Oh my god, everything he does. I feel so glad that he drew Lich on the back of my card in Japan, and I hope he's back this year so he can sign whatever card I'm going to bring to him. I don't know what it's going to be because I don't own any cards in this game right now that are recent, but whatever it is, I'm going to buy a Dragon of Outer Space off of Jeremy for like 25 cents because this thing's probably going to be garbage, and then I'm going to have him sign it, and I'm going to make sure that on the back of it he draws another dragon.
Buy out all Dragons of Outer Space. Raise price to $200 for non-foil versions.
Bet.
Got it.
The mark.
You act like I'm not going to get the hollow version of it off of
Mike Rance.
you for 0.5 cents.
Corner the market on Outer Space Dragon.
I
I'm gonna
tried.
buy every
I
single
tried to-
one.
I
Every
tried to
single
corner
one,
the market
every
on
single
Magic Stone
foil
Research
one,
Institute, but it didn't
every
work.
single
I don't
foil one, every single non-foil one. I'm still working on my dream of owning every single copy of Last Audience ever printed. I tell people all the time,
I've got
if you
4,
have-
Jeremy.
if you have them, let me know, because I'm trying to take them off your hands. I want every single copy of that card that's ever been printed.
I've got a lot, actually, probably.
Every single one. Yeah, this artwork is sick. It just goes to show again. And it's also, has Kodokan done anything in the past couple sets?
I feel like he has. No, wait, he did another dragon, I think. I'm pretty sure. Did he do the
You can
dragon
search
that copy
artists,
stats?
Oh, did he do Starving Dragon or
I think-
Envious Dragon? Or
I think he did Envious Dragon. You know what? I've got
Let's take a look.
forceofwind.online for this. That is FORCE OFWIND.ONLINE.
You can't search by artist.
I'm
I also
upset
have already
and
found it.
dead. Okay.
Yeah. Doesn't look like it was done by Kodokan.
What's the last thing he did? I could have sworn something recent.
I can also just look at Force of Wind and actually here. Let's just pull it up on screen. I've
Yeah,
got it.
Let's do it. We're going on
This
an
is
adventure,
from-
everyone. We had 3 spoilers. Now we get to go on an
What set was
adventure.
this? What's that? Was Envious Dragon? It was Heroes Luster 1, right?
TSP.
No, it was the 7th.
Oh, Envious Dragon was the 7th one. The 7th.
Yeah.
Was it in the 7th? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's just the last time I
Okay.
played this game.
Calvin.
Anyway,
We're going on an adventure.
all right, everyone, let's go. Buckle up. Please keep your hands and feet inside the podcast at all times.
Here it is. And now, I can't.
Kelvin.
Kelvin. Yeah, not
Kelvin.
Kodokan.
That's so sad. What did Kodokan? Kodokan did something recently. I remember there was a spoiler, and I'm like, "That's Kodokan. That's my boy. That's my guy." I didn't
Maybe
go.
not.
No,
But if it's not Kodokan, the niceness is it's always good to see an old Force of Will artist returning.
I want to
That's
see
always good.
Kodokan all the time, forever.
Yeah, just like I want to see Wednesday. Just like all the
You
time.
can.
Anytime Wednesday does a piece of artwork, I be sure to send him a message. And I'm like, hey.
Search,
Good job.
Explore the Suns, Adore Secrets, all these.
Okay,
looking it up.
so let's go with this. So we know that these rulers are probably going to be pretty standalone in terms of not having much mechanic, and they're going to be relying on Sun Children. At that point,
Are we boring you,
and-
Jeremy?
no, you're not boring me.
God,
The question becomes this. The
unbelievable.
question becomes this. We've got the Darkness Ruler, the Fire Ruler, the Water Ruler, and the Light Ruler left to go. We know that these Sun Children are probably going to be pretty anti-previous. Like it seems very obvious that they're probably going to be anti-Moon Children in that regard. So, hot takes. Let's each pick a color and just guess what we think that Ruler and Sunchild are going to be like. I will let Paul have the mermaid because, of course, I was going to let Paul have the mermaid. I'm gonna take white. I'm gonna take I think that's Musketeer Lady, right?
Kodokan did Grand Leon's Strongest Ancient. All right, I knew there was one.
Kodokan did Grand Leon?
Yeah.
Well, then he also did Sealed One-Eyed Dragon.
You think my boy messes around? Absolutely not.
Okay.
I love Kodokan so much.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that he did Sealed One-Eyed Dragon. So yeah, he's still been here for a bit.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry, Jimmy. I tuned out for a second trying to find
No worries.
Kodokan's artwork.
So we know. So here is the kind of let's guess. Let's get speculative, right? So we know that the rulers are going to be monocolored. We know that they're going to be probably pretty standalone in terms of their kind of identity. We also know that the Moon Children or the Sun Children are probably going to be pretty anti-Moon Children. So to that point, I'm going to let Paul have the Water Ruler and Moonchild. I'm going to take the Light Ruler and Moonchild.
You're taking
maybe
Twink Hero 3?
No, I think the white one is the Musketeer, right?
I don't know, man.
Then I'll take the dark one, the Cyber Ninja.
Okay, you can take Cyber Ninja.
I'll take Cyber Ninja and the dark one, and I'll let you have white and the white Sunchild. Total random. No need to. If it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, no worries. Just pure stream of consciousness. What do you think these rulers and their moon children are going to do? Just hot guess. I think that the Darkness Moonchild's God's Art is going to be pick a resonator, your opponent banishes it. Not target, choose. I think it's going to be selective. And my thought for that is that it's going to be a better version of almost a kind of a hard count, like a better version of like the Darkness Moonchild, because in a sense, right, the Darkness Moonchild's inherent weakness is that it can't get rid of Barrier and it can't get rid of Eternal, right? It can't get around either of those things. So the Darkness Moonchild saying choose it, force a banish, in my mind, I think is the counter to that. So that's what I think that the Darkness Sunchild is going to do. And I think all of them, I think, Jerry, you're very right in the fact that, Todd, I think you're very right in the fact that I think all of them will have, if your ruler is X, it's free, or 3 stones. I think that restriction to me, I think, is pretty slated to be across the board. And then for the ruler, I gotta feel like he's going to be very banish heavy or discard heavy. I think he's gonna be like, I don't know, he just feels very like mist, sneaky kind of shenanigans. So I think his mechanic is gonna be either around maybe taking possession of stuff. That's pretty traditionally a blue mechanic, so that doesn't feel necessarily true, but like kill, reanimate, or like make clones of your opponent's stuff, that might be very cool. Because that's a thing that Darkness has done before, is like make shadow duplicates of stuff. So the fact that there's a ninja thing, like,
okay, Naruto,
that's the vibe. That's the vibe I get. That's the vibe I get. So, and this is pure stream of consciousness. So that's me.
Jerry, don't threaten me with stream of consciousness. I can have stream of consciousness right now.
Go.
All right.
You have the white child, you have the white Sunchild, and the white ruler. Go.
All right. So fucking Henry Twinkler.
We know his name, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, continue.
I don't care. I really don't care about his name.
Okay.
Henry Twinkler is going to have Sunchild 2, obviously, and at the start of the game, you get Bingus. Take this a little bit seriously. I'll take the effect seriously. The name is Bingus Solitary Cathedral.
Okay.
Anyway, you start the game with it on the field. It's fine. Whatever.
Sure.
Grab fast out of the game, put it into the field. Great. He's done right there. So his Sunchild is going to be Dongus. No, wait. What's the name of? Hang on. Wait.
Dingle dangle, flippy hippy tuta. Like, what are we Doctor David Tennant?
It's gonna be Child of Timey Wimey.
Okay, got it.
Okay, no, it's gonna be Child of Health.
Okay.
It's gonna have a God's Art that you double your current life total. You can only activate this effect if you have 3 more magic stones, or if your ruler is Henry Twinkler.
Double your life total. That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea.
And then his the Cathedral of Bingus Solitary Cathedral is going to have that while your life total is 3,000 or more above your opponent's, resonators you control gain plus 400.
So you want to have a gaping gap between you and your opponent's life total to get a stat buff. That's an interesting idea. I like that for light. Yeah, I like that.
Almirius already has the plus 3,000 thing going. You might as well just follow through with that, because I feel like Currently in Force of Will, I think life total does not matter. Almerius is not seeing a lot of play despite giving you an extra 3,000 life. I think the benefits for having more than 7,000 plus life should absolutely be a thing, because I think that's always been something in Light's identity. I think that Green tried to get into it, but couldn't. They couldn't beat it. We have Aphrodite, who just gives 2,000 life just from entering the field. Like, life means nothing in Force of Will right now. I'm going to be very clear. So I think that having a way to really get payoffs for it and really make those payoffs work, like, I think giving your board plus 400 plus 400 for free for having more than 3,000 life over your opponent is a completely fair and balanced mechanic for 0 mana. 100%.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
absolutely.
I agree wholeheartedly. That's a cool idea. And the addition is what gives you the buff.
Bam,
So
got
you
it.
get the addition, yeah, and then
And if
like,
you clear the addition, then you get rid of it.
and then you can, then if you then it has some splashability of like you can go play it in Almerius, right?
Yep.
If you want to try to like make use.
I'm a huge proponent of legacy support of the rulers, which is why I didn't say 4,000 more life. 3,000 more life is the cutoff. It's perfect.
I dig that. I dig that a lot for sure. That's pretty solid.
I was thinking something hire me.
I was thinking sometimes in something in the line of like, a very interesting kind of tweak to that. Would be like the light is the addition. It's very similarly, we've seen this before, forcing both players to only ever play one card per turn.
That's so boring, though. I want
but the gods art removes the restriction for yourself for a turn.
You can play more than one card per turn.
I mean, like, that's interesting to me, right?
Yeah.
As like an anti-white Sunchild, because then there's the idea of like, oh, they go to Godchild, they do Moonchild, White God's Art, and you're like, cool, Sunchild, White God's Art. Like something that says like you are not restricted from playing cards this turn, right? You just have a turn to be able to play cards unrestricted. Like, that's a nice little counter, because like Wind is very clearly like it's this idea of like, in my brain, in my exercise, I'm already like, okay, how do we take the corresponding base color child, tweak and upgrade their God's Art in a way that also kind of punishes the first God's Art, or like the base, the Moonchild's one. And so that to me is kind of like, that's how you do it. You just make it so like you're not the narrowing it is that it's not affecting your opponent, but the punish is that like, cool, you made it so I can only cast one card per turn. I can cast as many cards as I want this turn, right? Something like that. Paul? Mermaids.
Okay. So I was looking at the artwork for this.
Sure.
And I'm like seeing the snake, and so I'm getting some like sneaky, almost like sinister vibes from this.
Cool.
So I don't know what the Moonchild does. Maybe.
Okay. Cool.
Actually, no, I do know what it does. And I'm going to steal something you said earlier. It's going to be the Child of the Waning Tides.
Ooh, I like that.
That's much better than Bingus.
He's better than Bingus.
It's going to have a God's Art of you can take control of a resonator your opponent controls till end of turn.
Okay. I don't hate that.
I think the mechanic, this is probably not going to be the mechanic, but I would love this idea of you sacrifice your own resonators to cheat out big monsters from your graveyard.
Ooh, so like a like a tribute.
You sort of like you dangle the thing, and then this giant sea monster comes up and snatches it, and then it's just here, right? So think like Leviathan from like TTW, or like the idea that like water tries to cheat in big stuff that do things from way back when they reset the color pie. I'd be very interested in that. And so like you would have things that like steal your opponent's stuff, or you can sacrifice your own stuff, and you would get like big.
It would be very interesting. It would be very I like that. I like that idea for sure. I did the same thing to Mike, so I'm just gonna do the same thing to you offhand because I have your idea. Instead of stealing something your opponent controlled, you bounce it back to your hand and then may immediately cast it.
Oh, I like that too.
So you can target one of your opponent's things, put it into your hand, and then cast it.
Jimmy, do you hear that?
What's that?
That'd be powerful.
That sounds like Charlie screaming from a very far away.
I mean, probably, but like the idea of like it doesn't get around barrier. You have to immediately cast it like right then, right? Or like you may choose to cast it, right? Sort of like if you do, you may cast it immediately. So like water has done flicker, kind of flicker stuff before, but the biggest weakness of water's stealing has been that it's always missed out on enter effects. Blue Child's kind of whole gimmick is that it's going to try to reuse an enter effect. So this is a sense of like, oh, you're going to try to reuse an enter effect? No, I'm going to use it. It's still fair in the fact that I still have to be able to pay for it. Otherwise, I just take it and I can cast it again later. Like that to me feels like similar in a sense. Like I think that'd be fine. That would be kind of cool.
Paul, I'm going to level with you here.
Yeah.
For water, in my game, I had a mechanic where it was more so like there's a card I created called Surfacing, which you put a card from your field, you put a resonator from your field on the bottom of your deck, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a resonator, you just toss it into the field, which kind of implies the idea of something lurking below the surface of the water. What do you think about that for that kind of like cheating Leviathans and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
I also like that.
Because it would also work with like blue has a very heavy 4C mechanic.
Exactly.
Right? So then those cards are also splashable into like 4C decks in general with blue, and you get some legacy support thrown in. That's pretty neat. Like, I like that idea.
Oh, I like this. This is
literally
also
Shion, back to Shion, baby. Let's go. I literally created that mechanic because I miss Shion. That's all I have.
Oh yeah, she's such a good ruler.
Like,
so good.
Awesome. These are, I mean, like, as much as I said it was stream of consciousness, let's just throw some stuff out. Honestly, pretty plausible stuff.
Listen, Paul, I know you want to play my game.
The names of Paul's Bingo Bongo, the name of Mike's Bingus and Bongus is totally wild and incorrect. But like the mechanics we came up with, honestly, pretty cool.
We got a ruler named Brad. Anything is possible, Jeremy. The rules are broken open.
We did get a ruler named Brad.
We have like Asuka, Kaguya, Valentina, Brad.
Bingus.
Bing. Let me tell you, if I had said
Cheshire Cat support, yeah.
If I had said either Brad or Bingus in that context, both of them would have sounded equally stupid. Let me throw that out there. Tell me I'm wrong.
The man.
Thank you.
Okay. It's wrong because it's gonna be Oingo and Boingo.
Yeah, there you go. Boingo, boingo.
Tag rulers. Oingo and Boingo.
There you go. Well, we somehow managed to take 3 cards and turn it into a whole hour worth of discussion. Well done, us. Hooray!
We did it!
Honestly, though, this has been fun. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. Again, if you're excited about these new cards and you haven't figured out how to get your pre-orders in, Odyssey Games has pre-orders up down below. You can click the link in the description to go right to the website and get in on that before they're sold out again. Because I don't know if they'll be able to do a second restock. That being said, if you like what we do and want to consider supporting us, you can hit that subscribe and share this video and discussion. And be sure to tune in every single Monday as we talk about more spoilers. You can also come back later this week to see more of our other videos this week. We're going to have a little bit of a, it's not a feature match per se, as more of like a feature deck showcase with an older ruler with Excalibur Genesis this week. Very excited to show you kind of some of the new tools and kind of the way that deck can be played nowadays. It's honestly a lot of fun. I still have
no shiny heart. Fuck you.
Don't really need it, and I'll show you why. So a lot of cool stuff going on there, and obviously the deck profile for that will be up later this week, and then we'll be back next week with more spoiler talk. If you want to see our on the day of kind of first thoughts about each spoiler, you can check here for our shorts, where we're going to be doing those videos again because those are kind of pretty popular. We'll also be doing that over on TikTok if you want to give us a follow over at Ruler School TCG over on TikTok. But other than that, this has been myself, DMO73, and I've been joined as always by Paul Reisman.
Bye.
And Mike Rance.
Play Conversion CCG, DM Mike Rance.
Saying class dismissed.